You're listening to the Breakaway Wealth Podcast, the show that helps you build wealth faster, think outside the box, and break out of the herd. Here's your host, Jim Oliver.
Welcome back, Breakaway Wealth. I'm your host, Jim Oliver, and with me today, my special guest, Ken Gee. Welcome, Ken.
Thanks you so much for having me, sir.
All right, Ken, introduce yourself to the audience before we get rolling here.
Yeah, so my name's Ken Gee. I'm the founder, managing member here at KRI. Started this business a very long time ago. So I grew up very quickly in Toledo, Ohio, undergrad from the University of Toledo, moved to Cleveland, pursued my master's degree while I spent 5 years as a commercial lender. That master's degree prepared me to go to Deloitte, be a CPA for 7 years. Spent 7 years on the tax side, did a ton of M&A work, a lot of due diligence, transaction planning. As it turns out, a lot of the same stuff I use today. I didn't realize it back then, but it was when I was at Deloitte that I decided real estate is something I wanted to do. I thought I'd done everything right until I found myself feeding my daughter the 3 a.m. feeding, right, when she was young, and realized I screwed up because now my whole family's going to grow up without me because I didn't think about the whole quality of life thing. That's what led me to real estate. And very quickly, I just went to apartment association meetings, tried to figure the business out. Back then, there was nothing available except Mr. Carlton Sheets and his no down payment system. I just dated myself, but in any event, I did figure it out. I bought 3 small apartment buildings, like 28, 24, 22 units, sold them. 3 years later, made $500,000. Could not believe what I had just done. And I stuck around Deloitte for another year and a half because I was, a little chicken, wanted to make sure that I was in good place. And the rest is history. This is all we've done now for 27 years.
That's awesome. So there's a lot to unpack there, but I want to go back to, you're working at Deloitte. And I've been in business for 38 years. I've, run into a lot of guys in those kinds of firms, and a lot of the traditional thinking in those firms and in the financial planning world is that Wall Street is how you get rich, right? And that your goal is to accumulate this nest egg, whether you're a business owner, high paid, B2 employee. Talk about why that isn't the goal and when you realized it.
Yeah. So, what I like about real estate the most, there's a lot I like, but what I really wanted to be was I didn't want to walk into work every day and was that going to be the day I got fired? Number one, because you just don't know. Number two, I didn't want to walk into work every day and know that if I pissed off the wrong guy or gal, they were going to be in charge of my money. My whole life was in their hands, and I just wasn't comfortable with that. I wanted to be in charge of all that. So that's the really big thing about real estate that made me really want to do it, was that I wanted to be in charge. I wanted, if I fail, it's on me, right?
Yeah.
If I fail, it's not because I made somebody mad. I didn't even know I made them angry. And I did some CLM, if you know what that is. That's a career limiting move.
Yeah.
In the corporate world. And so that's what got me into real estate. Now, most CPAs, some do, but back then that was, they were just, this is what I do. I'm a CPA, blah, blah, blah. You're right. Traditional diversification, all that stuff, right? Only very few CPAs are entrepreneurial or were entrepreneurial. So you're right. That was the common thinking. This is what you were going to do. You were going to invest your stuff in mutual funds and so on and earn, single digit returns. And that's a very, very, very slow road to nowhere. At least that's my opinion.
I love that because I grew up in the financial planning world, and it was, hey, you're going to build this nest egg, and then someday you're just going to stop working, and the nest egg is going to be your workers, your money, and this is what's going to happen. And they don't talk about sequence of returns and the fees that you're going to pay for the 40 years that you're accumulating the money, and then for the 30 years that you're spending the money. And they just don't talk about that, and the tax consequences and the lack of control. In real estate, once you understand it, you control the money, whether it's infinite banking, investing in real estate. Talk about how controlling the money has made a difference in your life and maybe where you are now versus where you were when you started, because we spoke a little bit before this started. Everyone in the audience, if they don't have any money, the first objection they're going to have is, I don't have any money. I can't get started in this.
Yeah.
But just talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, because this is actually something I'm pretty passionate about, because I came from Deloitte. I made the jump into real estate, and I'm telling you, there's no way I would have made all of my daughter's AAU games. There's no way we would have been able to charter a private yacht for a vacation. There's just no way any of that stuff would have been available because you just don't make enough money, right? So, I mean, there's just so many ways to fail in that environment. So I know that I faced all of these same hurdles, right? I didn't have any money. I don't have experience. I don't know what I'm doing. There's just no way I could do this thing, right? Even though I watched hundreds of people do it in my banking career, in my Deloitte career, for some reason, I'm just like, I pushed through it though. I pushed through it. Somehow I found a way to push through it. Now, let's now come to today. We help a lot of people figure this out. So I'm really in tune with what happens, right? To them. And what you just said is exactly what happens. They wake up, they're like, $10 million apartment building. That's absurd. How could I do that? I don't have any money.
Right.
Well, here's what I know because I've talked to so many people that have sat in my chair. When they started, they didn't have any money. They didn't have any experience. They had no idea what they were doing, but yet they figured it out. Now, I'm not just talking about one or two unicorns that figured it out. I'm talking about thousands of people that have figured this out. And so what that tells me is if that many people can figure this out, you can figure it out. The problem is you're viewing this thing in front of you as a mountain, and it's really not. All it is, and this is what I preach this on a regular basis, it's just a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Every problem has a solution. Most of the time you solve these problems by having a partner, doing it. Nobody does this thing alone. Even the richest people run out of money eventually. They can't do this all on their own.
Mm-hmm.
What is important is think about this. I had a partner early on. His name is Gary. I won't tell you his last name because he didn't give me permission. But early on, after I sold those 3 buildings and made $500,000, I wanted to keep going. But even though $500,000 is a lot of money, I didn't have a lot of money, right? So I met this guy at one of the apartment association meetings, developed a relationship with him. He spoke at one of the meetings and we got to know each other. So now what's happening to me, when I went those meetings, I wanted to network because I knew I needed help. This guy was one of the guys I met. So now I developed a relationship with him. We just, hey, he's smart. I'm smart. He's an attorney. He doesn't want to do the work. I'm happy to do the work. I didn't have his liquidity, his net worth, or his experience. So I said, Gary, we should do some deals together. He's like, I would love to. I said, but Gary, I don't have any money. Right. He says, well, okay, don't worry about it. He said, you have to put in a little. He said, I'm not going to let you put in nothing. I usually ended up borrowing that money, by the way.
Yeah.
He said, I'll put in most of the money. You do all the work and we'll split everything 50-50.
Yeah.
What? Like, how could I not take that offer, right? I have a guy with liquidity, net worth, experience, who is going to trust me to do all the work. There's the key. I was able to convince him that I was going to do whatever it takes to be successful. I am not going to fail. I am not going to lay down and roll over because it might be a little hard. He just knew that I wouldn't do that. And because of that, I formed that relationship millions of dollars later. He still partners with me on one deal. He has since retired. I owe most of my career to him getting me started. Now, here's what's interesting. Every person that starts out of my chair has some kind of experience like that. And here's what people don't understand. Guys like me now, I want to help people get started. He wanted to help me get started. First of all, he knew he would make money, but he also knew that he's giving back, right? And so people don't understand that this whole business, like one of the things that I hate that people do is they say, oh, your network is your net worth. Okay, that's fine. That's a cool saying, but that doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
I can't translate that into like life. I don't know what that means. That's a great saying. It's catchy. You put it on a slide, but it means nothing. But what it really means is you've got a problem to solve. People can help you solve that problem. Go find those people. Go show them. Go show that rich person that you're the guy. You're that unicorn that will kick butt for them. Why? Because they're looking for you. You don't realize that, but they're looking. They don't need you. Their life's not going to change if they don't do it with you. But when they find you, they're going to pursue you because they know that's how they got rich, by surrounding themselves with smart, successful, hardworking people. So that's the thing. These problems are so solvable. Oftentimes here's what I've learned. I can give you advice. That's easy. Giving myself advice is hard. I don't know why. I'm just as smart talking to you as I am to myself. But for some reason, we have trouble seeing around our own mountains, our own problems. And when someone else looks at you and says, just do this, then you have to be brave enough to listen to them. So that's how your listeners solve this problem. I'm telling, it's how everybody solves this problem.
I love that. We talk about, there's a great book called Who Not How, like, finding people out there that know something that you don't.
Mhm.
and partnering with them. And whether that's marketing, whether that's operations in your business, whether it's real estate investing, it doesn't really
Mhm.
matter, is somebody that can help accelerate your learning curve too. When I was in the financial services business, the noise out there, it just is so deafening because, to do this, you have to be in the minority. And one of my mentors who passed away a few years ago, Nelson Nash, he would always say the majority's never been right about anything. And I believe that. So talk about when you're working with somebody new, what are some of the things that you help them do to just have the courage to take that first action? Because don't you, and that's the question, but don't you feel like once somebody's done one or two deals, now they got it, right? They know
All
how
I
it
do
works.
is get a one deal. If I get you your first deal, your life just changed.
Exactly.
That
Exactly.
is the reality of what's happened to people.
That's what I see too, is it's that first deal is the one that they're afraid. And, like I use this analogy so much, my audience probably gets tired of it. But if you and I were going to go climb Mount Everest tomorrow and we were, I'm going to make sure we've got the best goggles, the best gloves, the best jackets, pants, everything. Like we're going to have the best equipment. But the one thing that there's not going to be any debate on is I'm going to hire the best Sherpa on that mountain. The guy that's got up and down that mountain the most times ever, right?
Right.
I'm not getting the guy on his first week. And so talk about the importance of, for you said the importance of coaching. Give me an example of somebody that came to you scared out of their boots and just took that leap of faith, did it, and maybe where they are now. You don't have to
Yeah.
use names or anything, but
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's half of our business is helping people do that. So this happens all the time. So there's a number of things that I try to do to stack things in their favor. And I'm going to try to keep this brief, but here's the things. I want you to think about something. We grew up in an environment and a culture that makes us want to fit in. Okay.
mm,
First of all, our parents probably did a little bit of that. They didn't mean they meant well, but that's just what they did. Now, I want you to think about going out to recess on the playground. Okay. If you fit in, you were not the guy or gal getting picked on,
right.
right? The person that was different got picked on. So your whole life, decades, you spent trying to fit in, trying to not be that unicorn, try to make sure that you were not the weird one, right? And so now you've been indoctrinated. I don't like that word. You've been trained. It's been your culture. So now you look at successful people, they are not the people that fit in.
Mhm.
Elon Musk, you just look everywhere, everywhere. People, they're weird. They're out there, man. And that's
Yeah.
okay, but
Yeah.
they're different. So now the first thing I have to do is help people understand that it's okay to be different. Well, how do you do that? Well, here's what I like to do. I like to put you in a room with a bunch of people who are doing what you're doing, and some of them have already done it. So guess what? You're this urge that you have to fit in. Now you're the one that doesn't fit in.
Right.
So now your natural tendency is, I want to fit in with this group of people that I surround myself with. This is why this network is net worth. There's so much to this, but
Yeah.
now I want to fit in with that group. These people are all doing the same thing. You're learning together. You're hopefully being led by somebody who has a clue and knows what they're doing, right? But now people are do A, then B, then C. This isn't rocket science. We have this whole thing figured out. It's literally step by step by step. If you do all these things, you will get there. And then when you're in that room with a bunch of people that are doing it and getting deals done, now you're trying to fit in. Now, like, wait a minute, she got a deal. She's on deal number 2. She's looking at deal. I can't let that happen. You see, now you have this, I'm not fitting in. I've
Yeah.
got to step it up and fit into this group. So step 1 is putting people in that room. And I never really understood the psychology until I watched people going through this, right? Because I never worried about being different. I was always happy to be different. Okay. But not everybody is like that. And you have to respect that. So step 1 is getting them in that room around a whole bunch of people. Step 2 is to get a system that works. Like we've done, I'm not here pushing my program. That's not what I'm trying to do. But what I'm saying is we've done it 20 times.
Yeah.
We've raised a boatload of money. We've done a ton of deals. We've done the heavy value add. We've done the really nice Class A stuff. Like we've been there, done that. What I do now, here's the thing. You've got to pick the right teacher, the right mentor, the right coach, whatever you want to call them, that has their heart in the right place, right? Because everybody's out there with the money grab. That's the noise. You got to be careful with that. They try to do this and fly at 30,000 feet. Those are probably not the people with a lot of experience. but there are a few people out there who've been doing this a long time who legitimately want to help others, and they're willing to teach you exactly what they do every single day. Like literally, if you're in our program, we have a whole owner's course, right? Well, we've managed 16,000 units. Every single thing we do in our property management program on our team, everything we do with our own properties, we teach you to do. You see? So now you have not only you don't have to invent the system. It's already been invented for you. It's already been proven. It's already been tweaked and evolved and, for 20, 30 years. Now you just have to take it and use it, right? So you need that person that's willing to be that transparent and that interested in helping you, because that's the key, right? These people charge a lot of money to do this stuff. I know you know that. And they don't, how many times I can't tell you how many times I would go to a conference and someone would say, I've been in this program, in this program, in this program. I don't know what to do next. I'm like, how is this even possible that you don't know what to do? You've already spent like 50 grand trying to figure this out. Like, that's insane. I know you're smiling because you've seen it. You've seen it happen, right? So as you can see, you got me a little wound up here, but I think number one is the psychology you got to fight for somebody who isn't inherently want to be different. Get them in the right room with a bunch of people that are doing it. Give them a system that if they follow it. Now, here's the last thing they need, and this is disappointing, but some people need it. They need accountability.
Yeah.
I don't know why they need accountability. I don't know. Some people are just self-driven. Some people just need a little kick in the ass because they find all these little shiny objects in their life.
Yeah.
Right?
The noise. Yeah.
Noise. You call it noise. I call it shiny objects. It's the same thing. Right? So I would say those are the three things that are critical to getting people over this hump, right? Because it's hard. If I've got a 30-day accountability call with you and I'm going to say to you, sorry, Jim, I didn't do what we talked about I was supposed to do. Why not? I thought you wanted to see what I mean? That conversation is now hard. So those are some things that people can do to set themselves up for success. You might not need the accountability. You probably do need the system, and you may or may not need to be in that room, but in that room not only helps you move forward, but it gives you access to really probably high quality people that can be your partners because they're going to help you solve your problems.
Yeah, I love that. Ken, I always think accountability is reinforcement when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And because, I used to be, again, when I was in the financial services world, I would have weekly meetings. What happened last week? What do you have planned for this week? What do you have set up? Here's what you got paid. Here's what you submitted, blah, 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 assets under management, all this crap. Right. And the people that never did it, I hated those meetings with them because I don't believe you can motivate anybody. I believe you can create an atmosphere to where people motivate themselves. Mm-hmm. And we are in that atmosphere. You have an unlimited income. You do not have to exchange time for money. You do not have to go to work every day and stress out. You can have your assets provide your income and your lifestyle more than you could ever imagine for you and your family, and be at all of those basketball, baseball, football games, wrestling, whatever it is. Anything your kid wants to do, you should be there. I've been at, when my kids were little, they're 36 and 35 now. I was at everything. And so so I love that is, the thing that sometimes comes up, I'm just trying to think of objections people have out there.
Yeah, they have a lot.
Ken, I'm too young or I'm too old. What do you say to somebody who says I'm too young or too old? I'm in Florida, right? So I see people that are bored, worried about their money. And I'm like, just because you're 60 or 65 or 70 doesn't mean you can't get into real estate, and doesn't mean that you actually have a lot of life experiences that you're not going to have some of the fears that somebody who's 25 or 30 is going to have. So talk about that.
Yeah. So let's talk about the young person.
Yeah.
I will tell you that people my age love helping younger people. They totally just agree. Love it. Why? Because they want to help people.
Yeah.
I mean, their life is the way it is, and they're more resistant to helping people that are older because they're like, what the hell? Like, why have you not done anything yet? Right. But a young person, I have seen many 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds getting multifamily deals.
Yep.
So the young person typically has more, what's the word? They're braver. Let's just say that they're not limited. They're not scared as much because what do they have to lose? They don't have anything yet anyway. So they don't care.
Same thing. Yeah.
Their brain is very moldable.
Yep.
You just got to, they haven't remember, they haven't fought that decades worth of, I got to fit in with everybody else who, is more worried about taking vacation than they are making a good life for their family. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
young people actually have it easy.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. Now they're not going to believe that because they're
Yep.
going to say nobody takes me seriously.
Yep.
Well, get a deal. Guess what? Nobody cares how old you are.
No.
They just don't. And what they do is they'll actually love you more. And I watch this happen. The young people, I'm like, oh my God, you're like unbelievable. I can't believe what you're doing. Nobody at your age is doing what you're doing. You are clearly like that unicorn, right? And
Yeah.
because that's true. Now, the older person, I would just say they're using, I'm just going to be brutal here and direct if you don't mind, but they're
Yeah.
using their age as an excuse, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm too old. Real estate takes too long. What's the point? Like, stop. First of all, I mean, we're living way longer than we ever have, number one. Number
Yep.
two, just whatever you have or have not done in the past is irrelevant. What are you doing today and looking forward? See, that's the good thing about life. I've changed careers like I think 5 times or something, right? I'm not
Mhm.
anybody special. This isn't about me, but okay, if you're 60 or you're 70, go do it. I mean,
Yeah.
what are you going to roll over and go to sleep until you die? Like, why would you do that, right? You're going to learn something new. You're going to be active. You're going to be completely motivated if you do this. And guess what? Because of that, you'll probably live longer. I
I
could be
totally
wrong, but that's what I think will likely happen.
No, I think the studies say that, Ken. I mean, again, in my neighborhood, 80% of my neighborhood is snowbirds.
Mm.
And I see snowbirds that went the traditional route and they've got money sitting in Wall Street and they might have the greatest money babysitter of all time. But they're worried. They're worried when the market goes down. They're worried when the market goes up. They're worried about this. They're worried about that. They watch the news, they get worried. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle they are on, whatever channel they watch, they're still worried.
Yeah, you're
Guess
not wrong.
So worry is stress. All illness and disease comes from stress, and illness and disease is what kills us, right? So like, then I see people, very few. I mean, like in my neighborhood, I probably know a handful of people that own one right up in Cleveland. He owns, I don't know how many doors of multifamily in the Cleveland area, but guess what? He's not worried. And he votes to spend money at the country club. Yeah, let's improve that. Yeah, let's improve this. I mean, and the other people that are penny pinching, and God bless them. I mean, I'm so thankful that I'm not going to be that person regretting this at the end of my life. Like, oh my gosh, I just figured it out, and then it's too late. If you're 60 or 70, it's not too late. But you got to change the goals. And along the way, somebody had to give you some really good advice. So this is a big question. It's a short question, but it's a big question. What's the best advice anybody ever gave you?
Yeah, there's a lot, but I would say I'm sure. So I read a book. It's called 10X Rule a long time ago, written by Grant Cardone. The best advice that I got from that book, and it's just over and over and over. I mean, the whole message of the book is quite simple. If you think you have to do this amount of activity to be successful, no, you don't.
Yeah.
That's just maybe you might be average if you do that. You've got to do 10X that, right?
Mhm.
And that book sat with me for a long time. A long time. I mean, we still, in our morning meetings, we still talk about it every day, right? Average doesn't work. It just
Yeah.
doesn't, right? So that's the best advice that person gave to me through their book.
Yeah.
And it's not wrong, right? If I think it's anything in life. If you just think of anything. If you think you need to do this much to make it successful, no. I always say, don't try to kill an ant with a feather. Use a sledgehammer so you make sure you get it done, right? That's what you have to do. That's what it has to do with everything. And here's I'm getting on a tangent here, but every single person that I talk to about this business and other stuff, they think there's a shortcut. They
Yeah.
want this transformation. And where's the shortcut? How do I do this faster? Well, wait, time out. I want you, if you can name right now a successful person that has told you it was easy.
Yeah.
I've not been able to find one. They all said they know every detail about their business. They all say it's a grind. They all say that it's, you didn't know me when I was doing the grind. You only see me now. And you think I went from whatever you think I was to this superstar, right? I mean, look at Herzvik and Cuban and all those. I mean, it's been a grind for them and they tell you that, right?
Yeah.
So what does that tell me? That reinforces that 10X concept, that rule that you really just need to buckle down and do it, right? So one last comment. I mean, what John Maxwell, I heard him live a couple of years ago, and he said something that has stuck with me to this day. And that is, people want to do what you do, right? They want to do what I do, but they don't want to do what I did. They want
Yeah.
the shortcut. And I challenge you to find a successful person that would say, you don't have to do what I did. There's an easy way. Go take it. I just don't think it exists.
I think it does easier. Ken, I like to, I don't know how many years ago, I really started getting serious about my health and fitness. And I started studying things in this, you can correlate. I mean, you can see the correlation between this and real estate, but there's all kinds of fad things, not that there's anything wrong with the carnivore diet or keto diet or,
Yeah.
fasting or all this stuff that I just like thought. And by the way, sometimes I do fast, but I don't do it every single day, and I don't eat one meal a day and all that. But because I studied everything, and I also studied myself, what would work for me. So, and then I didn't want to say I'm going to lose 30 pounds in 30 days or anything like that. It was, I want to get stronger. I want to build muscle. I want to eat better. I want to and it was gradual, but I identified myself as an in shape person, right? And all of a sudden it started to happen. And I did everything. Well, okay, how about hormones? How about peptides? How about this? How about that? What about this kind of exercise? Every 90 days, I'm reevaluating, adjusting. And I know it's the same way in real estate or business or anything else that you're doing that you have success in. So I love that analogy. Last question, and then we're going to talk about how people get in touch with you. Audience, this is the beginning of 2026. We've just finished a series on here of how to make 2026 the best year ever. And I think one of the most important things, Ken said a lot of great stuff here, but people want to help you. People want to help you. If they're really the right person, if they're really for real, okay? If they're not full of crap, they want to help you. If they're full of crap, they'll avoid helping you because they know they don't know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I love helping somebody. I love helping somebody go from 0 to 500 doors or something, whatever their thing is. I love helping them say what Ken said. I went to my daughter's basketball games. Sorry. So yeah, I went to my daughter's basketball games because you know what? Those are times you cannot get back. You cannot get those times back. And I don't care if you're living in the greatest house and you got your wife's driving the greatest car and et cetera, and you're not in your kids' lives, you do not get that back. There's not a price you can put on it. All right, Ken, if God came down from heaven and only allowed you to retain the knowledge that you've received from one book, now you just mentioned a really good book, and it's okay if it's that book, because I don't think anybody's ever said that book, but and only allowed you to retain the knowledge from one book, what would that book be?
It would probably be that. I mean, it shaped every part of my life. And there's I'm a junkie when it comes to just trying to get better, right? My wife laughs at me. I don't watch sitcoms. I don't do all that. I'd rather spend the time learning. Wait a minute, learning from successful people because I don't know. I just think you can always continually get better. At the root of all of that, though, comes this concept that you just got to grind it out. There is no shortcut. There's not. It's just not. No Stop trying to find the shortcut. I watch people every day spend so much time and energy trying to find the shortcut. If they would have just done the grind like they should have in the beginning, they would have been there already. But they're still busy trying to find a shortcut, and every shortcut ends up failing them in one way or another. Just do the right thing. So it all does come back to that whole concept of just grind it out, man. Just stop whining, buckle down, do what makes sense. Because if you do, you're going to be wildly successful. And what else is going to happen in real estate? We need other people's money. We need to raise money if we really want to grow. There is no other way to get you to invest with me than to make you understand that I really work hard. I understand what it takes to be successful, and I'm willing to learn the details, right? If you're wealthy and you want to invest with me, you know what you're looking for, and you're not looking for the guy who wants to do the shortcut. You're not looking for the guy or gal who wants to take it and not really learn the details, right? You don't fly at 30,000 feet and be successful in any business. So it all goes back to that. There's probably other books. That concept just governs your behavior in every aspect of your life. It just does.
And when you have 10x thinking, you think differently than everyone else because everyone else is trying to double wherever they're at, right? They're trying to go from 100,000 to 200,000 or 500,000 to 1 million. When you start to really 10x think, you have to get creative and you have to do it differently than the herd, which I love. It's funny when, again, I'll go back to like my fitness journey and health journey is I knew that I I would get up at 4:30 in the morning, but getting to the gym on my own, workout by myself at 5 a.m. wasn't a habit that I possessed, right? So, what I did is I just hired somebody to be my trainer and to show up at the gym at 5 a.m. And guess what? I've never missed a workout. You know why? Is because it doesn't matter how much money I have. I hate to waste money.
Mhm.
And if
Yeah.
I don't show up, guess what? I still pay her. So I'm there and I'm, like, hey, my throat's a little sore today. So what? Have some coffee, get
Are
some
your arms
water.
broke? You can still lift a weight. What's your problem?
That's right. You can still do legs. You know
Yeah,
what I
that's
mean?
right.
If you broke your arm, you can still do legs, and you got another arm, and you got core, and and the thing is that having that coach and the accountability and just, like, hey, I'm going to ask you what you did. And if you didn't do what you're supposed to do, and, I'll wrap it up with this something I learned a long time ago. It's the Champion's Creed. I will do what I need to do when I need to do it, whether I want to do it or not, no debate. And the no debate is really important because we can sell ourselves on the worst things. That ice cream, a little bit of ice cream isn't going to hurt me.
Yeah.
But do I
Yeah.
really need ice cream? I mean, I love ice cream, by the way. I eat it twice a year. And when I eat like 3 different flavors, right?
Okay. All
But I
right.
eat it like twice a year. But I will eat it. I mean, my brain is like on overload for sugar. All right. So, Ken, what I like about your program too is you encourage people to be active and learn. But also, if somebody just says, hey, Jim, I'm an orthopedic surgeon and I don't have time to do that, but I don't want these little piddly returns. Like, I need something more exciting. You can work with them too. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah. We help people create wealth through real estate, right? We started out as a private equity firm, and we are still. I mean, we have a couple hundred million under management. We're doing okay. But what I learned was people want to also try to do their own deals. That's why we split the business in half. So here's what's interesting, and your audience probably doesn't understand this. You may start out saying, I want to do my own deals. And then you realize, this is too much work, right? Here, I'll give somebody else my money because the kind of returns you can generate, right? Mid-teens and better. We've got deals that have returned, infinite returns, right? They've gotten all their money back 5 years ago and it's still spitting
Kicking
out
off
money,
money.
right? Those kind of things. So most
Love that.
people go both ways, so to speak, right? They just do. But here's the key. When you take the time to learn a little bit about the thing that you're investing in, now it helps you identify the right sponsors to invest with because you know a little bit, right? So that's as soon as I started seeing people in this environment, I realized they became smarter investors. They asked me better questions. We want smart investors that understand what they're doing, because then I don't have a risk that they're not going to understand what they're investing in, right? So
Yep.
the whole thing kind of fits together, and that's why we do it the way we do it. No matter what, whether you want to do your own deal or you want to do it passively, we've got a path for you, and we're going to legitimately help you figure that out. And if it means that you don't do it at all, then that's fine, because for some people, that's the answer.
Yeah. And that's what I say is educate yourself until you decide whether this is for you or not for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's really that simple and it's really that easy. And people that are successful, they're not trying to sell you anything. They're just trying to educate you because it's made such a difference. And I can see that in Ken's, in the way that Ken
That's why
speaks
we do
about
it.
it.
That's why
Yeah.
we do it. I don't need their money. I do not need
Yeah.
their money, but I
Yeah.
can't do it for free because then it turns out to be a waste of my time. I've tried it and they
Yeah.
just won't do it if they don't have any skin in the game.
They don't
And
see any
now I'm
value.
just
I've
wasting
done
money.
it a million times. I used to give away my book and then I stopped doing that because people wouldn't read it if I gave it away. If I charge them $20 for the book, they read it. I mean, I know it sounds dumb, but it is just
No,
the
it's
way that it
true.
is.
It's true.
Yeah.
I used to think guys were talking their own book by telling me that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
true. It's true.
Ken, how do people find you?
Yeah, just go to our website, kripartners.com, kripartners.com, or if you want to talk to us live, 216-29.
So,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, Ken, thank you so much for being on the show. And audience, look, this is just, you have to take action. One action today that you can take after listening to this show is to go to the website, look around and get some answers, I'm sure there's free resources on there, everything else. Look at the free resources. You'll know, does this energy feel right with me? Is this and then make the phone call. And if you took this one action today, just going to the website and making one phone call could change your life. And it's not going to happen overnight, but 5 years from now, And I don't care if you're 70 years old, 5 years from now, your life could look so different, you would not even believe it. So Ken, I thank you for what you're doing to serve humanity out there and helping people.
Sure,
and, you know, I think of all the kids out there that are going to have their parents at their activities and in their lives because of the work that you're doing. So thank you for that. Audience, we're going to wrap this up like we always do with the incredible words of Earl Nightingale and the strangest secret: whatever you think, you will become.
Here's the key to success and the key to failure. We become what we think about. Now let me say that again. We become what we think about.
Thanks for listening to the Breakaway Wealth Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to this show wherever you're listening so you never miss an episode. If you want to start increasing your wealth building ability right now, go to community.createtailwind.com to join our free online community and get access to free, in-depth training designed to help you build real, lasting wealth. See you next week.